So there are a few really great vine plants that are going to bring almost instant satisfaction to any hydroponic grower. And of course you can grow tons of different vine plants, but my personal favorites are going to be sugar snap peas, because you can just walk right up after maybe like a month and a half to 2 months of growth in like a nice tower garden or an aeroponic setup, and just pick them right off the vine and eat them, and it's so delicious and satisfying. But my personal favorite vined hydroponic plant to grow would have to be cucumbers. This is the very first plant I ever grew hydroponically, and the versatility here is awesome. They're also very hardy, they grow fast, and they're big. So I always have a few cucumber plants growing at any given time in my garden. I like to pick them early and make smaller, like gherkin size little pickles, or I'll let them get full size, put them in a salad, or make larger pickles out of them. I just love cucumbers. So if you're trying to grow a vine plant, if you want to grow something that's just going to be really satisfying and give you some delicious fruit, then cucumbers you really can't go wrong with. All right, so now let's talk leafy greens. Of course, romaine, bib lettuce, spinach, all leafy greens are going to go great in a hydroponic system. But I think the best for beginners, there are two particular greens that I always try to have growing because they're very hardy, they're extremely resilient, and you can use them in a lot of different applications. The first one is kale. So I personally always grow the blue curled kale. When the power went out in my garden and everything froze, there were two plants that stayed alive, kale and cabbage. And that's actually the second one. Cabbage is extremely resilient. I find it's hard to kill even. So between the two, if you had kale growing, you have something you can put in salads, you could saute up, you can put it in pastas. Kale is extremely versatile, and it's actually considered to be the healthiest food in the world. And then on the other side, you're gonna have cabbage, which is full of water. It's great for sauteing down. You can ferment it for kimchi. I think between the two, you really can't go wrong if you grow cabbage and kale for your greens. All right, so what about plants like tomatoes and peppers? Well, you really can't go wrong growing either one of those, but what variety of tomato and what variety of pepper should a beginner start off with in their hydroponic garden? Well, in my personal experience, I have had a lot of success growing jalapenos. I found that they're very easy and you get quite a few when it's time to harvest. And in the tomato variety, I think that a beginner would get the most satisfaction out of growing some really nice, juicy, sweet cherry tomatoes. A big, delicious heirloom tomato is fantastic too, but I would wait till a little later to do that. If you want more instant satisfaction and you want things that are going to be harder to kill and just start really showing off your garden and growing food in your hydro garden, then I think cherry tomatoes are going to be a really fun one for you to grow. I mean, once they start flowering, it is off to the races. And if you grow a few of them, like in a tower garden, then you're going to have delicious cherry tomatoes all season long. I really like these extra super sweet ones personally. So what about fruit? What fruit is best for a beginner to grow in their hydroponic garden? Well, in my opinion, I think strawberries and blueberries. Now with strawberries, the thing to note here is when you germinate the seeds, if you're not just going to buy the plant and transplant it, which is actually always what I'd probably recommend to do in like a hydro garden type situation, but if you're going to grow them from seed yourself, just remember they take quite a long time to germinate, 7 to 42 days. And unlike most all other seeds, strawberry seeds require light to germinate, as well as moisture. So maintaining that balance can be a little tricky for up to 42 days, but if you do get them to sprout, just go crazy with it. I'm actually planning on planting an entire tower garden with strawberry plants because my son loves them. Well, we all love them. Who doesn't love strawberries? And just kind of letting them go wild. Now with blueberries, I definitely wouldn't recommend trying to grow them from the seed. Best thing to do if you want to grow a blueberry bush is to go to a greenhouse or a nursery and get yourself a small, already growing blueberry bush or a clone that someone's clipped off of a blueberry bush. And then you just transplant that right into your hydro garden. The thing to note with blueberries is that they require a very acidic pH of about 4.5. So as long as you maintain that, you should be good to go. Both those fruits love hydroponic setups, so go nuts. And finally, of course, herbs. All herbs grow great in a hydroponic setup. I mean, 99% of all plants are going to go great in a hydroponic setup. These are just the ones that I think are fantastic for beginners and that are going to give you the most satisfaction quickly. And the two herbs that I think definitely tick those boxes are going to be basil and cilantro. Basil is really a staple of a hydroponic garden because it grows so well in these conditions. It's also really great for getting into cloning. You can turn one basil plant into 20 basil plants with a fogponic cloner. And then you have cilantro. Cilantro is very hardy and it takes a while to transplant. I moved cilantro to 3 different gardens, one of them being fogponic, and it grew to give us more cilantro than we could ever eat eventually in my tower garden. So I hope this video was really helpful. Hopefully it gave you the kickstart you need to go out and buy some seeds. Let me know down in the description box below if you think there are any plants I missed or how your grow went. Don't be shy. Let's keep growing together, guys.